All right. Hello, hello. Hello. We are live doing another Unwrapped. These are so fun and they're easy. And that's great. That's great for you, great for me. So we'll give people just a minute to come on in. And today on Unwrapped, we're doing bite sized answers for your packaged food business. And we're talking about scaling up and things you need to know. So I'll introduce myself briefly. I'm Sari Kimball. I am the creator of Food Business Success, and I help packaged food business entrepreneurs start or grow their packaged food business. So whether that's going into farmers markets, going onto store shelves, going online to your own website, or going onto Amazon or some other marketplaces, I help make sure that you are legal, that you have all the pieces in place to be successful, to have a profitable packaged food business. I like to say that I help make your delicious dream come true, right? Take your idea out of the kitchen and into onto store shelves, into the market, or online. All right, so let's. Speaking of delicious ideas in your kitchen, we have a very, very important topic, talking about scaling up. And I wanted to talk about this today because I am working with a number of clients. You can see I have lots of amazing clients that I've worked with to help them bring their product to market. But I am working with quite a few right now where we are in the really tough stage of taking their home version of their recipe and scaling it up for commercial production. And I think why this really trips people up is because usually, 9 times out of 10, most people come to me with that recipe. They're already really passionate about it. They already love it. They already know it works in their home kitchen. Everybody raves about it. Everybody tells you you should turn this into a business. So you feel like you have that dialed in. It's all the other stuff that you don't know about, right? The FDA compliance or food safety or how to get into grocery stores. So it's all that stuff that you're like, I don't know how to do that, but I do know my recipe. And the problem is when we commercialize, when we scale up a recipe, it can behave very differently. And that gets people, it gets really frustrating. And it's unexpected, I think, for most people. So if you get anything out of this, what I'd love the takeaway to be is like, expect that this will be harder than you think. Uh, it's not just a matter of doubling, tripling, 10 timesing your recipe. I don't know why. I'm sure it works out in physics, like universal law, but it seems to defy nature just a little bit that you can't just take a recipe and multiply it by 20 and have it come out the same way it does in your home kitchen. So, of course, it's going to be product specific. Some are easier than others. But the first thing is to know that it is going to be harder, that this is a phase, a stage of your business that you need to invest some time in. And it's going to be an investment in money as well. So, you are going to have to set aside some of your investment dollars to deal with the issue of scaling up your product. Um, Expect that it's going to take a little longer than you think. You're going to probably have to make more batches than you think. You're going to have to try something and then it's going to fail and then you're going to try something else. If you listen to my podcast, we're putting the episodes up here on YouTube as well. But last week, I was talking with three businesses that are inside Food Business Success, and Tanya and Lenore talked about how challenging it has been to scale up it's rice and beans for crying out loud, right? Like what can be so hard about it? But it actually is harder than you think. And it has probably taken them I mean, they said probably 4, 5, 6 months to figure out, like, dial in the recipe, and expect that you're gonna throw some product away, that it's not gonna work out. So here's some tips, some tools. Yes, the first one, thank you, Mary, is going metric. So convert everything to grams. So you want to take your cups, your teaspoons, even your liquids, and you want to make that recipe in your small batch in your kitchen, but you want to get a good kitchen scale, a digital kitchen scale, and then you want to weigh out each ingredient in your home kitchen. Write it down. If you are using my tools, the Pricing for Profit workshop has an amazing cost of goods sold recipe that will factor all of your margins and everything else. So you can do your recipe right in there. You can also get it, of course, inside Food Business Success. But you want to convert everything to grams, and that can sometimes be a little bit difficult when we're talking about really small quantities. So things like cayenne or salt or pepper or something like that. So you might have to figure out how many teaspoons finally get it to register to like 5 grams, and then back it out from there. It's always, now consider that we want to get it to grams, and we're going to start with our home recipe. We're going to make sure that that works and we like it. And then we're going to go to the next step and we're going to multiply it. And we're not going to go huge yet, but we are going to go just bigger, maybe double it or triple it. Make the biggest batch that you can in your home kitchen with the tools that are correct, right? So that you need. So if you need a mixer, make the biggest batch possible inside your mixer. And in addition to converting everything to grams and testing it, like I said, you want to think about what are some tools that you could get that will help you with consistency. The example I use a lot in my presentations is around cookies, right? And we want those cookies to come out the same size, the same shape, the same weight every time. And so getting a certain size scoop that you can get on Amazon or a restaurant supply store, get a certain ounce scoop, and then every time you're doing that, and then you're coming up with like, do I press these down, and to what, how much do I press them down? Are they a half an inch? Like, document your process. The same is going to go for sauces or anything like that. Like, how can you speed up your process? Use funnels. You'll use different kinds of tools to get consistency. Baked goods are usually one of the more challenging ones. Thanks, Dina. Dina put the Pricing for Profit workshop. That's a really inexpensive video workshop that I did that you can grab over at Food Business Success. All right, so you converted to grams. You're looking for tools for consistency. So you test that batch in your home kitchen. You make sure you like it on a small scale. Then you make the largest batch you can in your home kitchen. And you use weights. Now we're not using those teaspoons and cups anymore. And we're going to make sure, do we still like it in that big batch in your home kitchen? Then if you are doing, and then this is where it gets a little tricky, or like your fork in the road, if you're going to go self-production versus co-manufacturing, do these steps either way. If you're going self-production, then you want to go ahead and try to get into your kitchen, even if you can get in and just pay them for like a test run. Maybe you're not quite ready to get your license and all of that, but could you pay them a small amount to just come in and use it for a couple hours a day, that one day? So now we're talking about using, a 20 quart or a 50 quart mixer, a 100 quart mixer. Now we're talking about tilt skillets and big pots and equipment, bottling equipment potentially. Like, now we're really getting into the big guns, and we want to test that equipment, and again, test a batch or two, multiples. But also keep in mind, especially with baked goods, like altitude and humidity and things like that can really affect things. But if something's wrong on a small scale and then you multiply it by 10 or 20 or 50, If it's wrong when it's small, it's really going to be wrong and off on a big batch. So that's why you don't want your first big batch to be the run. The farmer's market is that week and you're just now testing it. So give yourself time, give yourself some space to work this out. It can take a couple of months, honestly. And the reality is, didn't even have this in my notes, but I was thinking about this earlier, that when you start commercializing, well, actually, let me back up and I'll talk about co-packer. So similar process, they're going to do a test run. So they might do a 5-gallon batch if it's a sauce, or they might do a 5-pound batch of a baked good or something like that. So you want to get as close as you can at home to what they're doing. And then you're going to do the test run and you're going to have to pay them for that. But there's where you can say, this is not the right process. Oh, we need to fix this and this. So you're going to do that test run. When you go, especially when you go into a co-packer and your own kitchen, when you start using commercial ingredients, so ingredients that you're getting from a wholesaler, or ingredients that you're buying online in bulk, those ingredients can sometimes behave really, really differently. It's amazing to me how different they can be. And again, I feel like sometimes it defies the laws of nature. I don't know how to explain it. So let me just, I can share an example. So I'm working with a butter client, and we do a compound butter for steak. And we are taking it, we've been doing, well, the first time we scaled it up to go have them self-manufacture, we went through all of these things where it was like, the recipe was like 3 dashes of something. And it's like, oh my God. So we were like 3, counting out dashes, trying to get grams to register on a scale. So we worked through all of that. We figured out how to make a 10-pound batch. Well, now we're going to make into a kitchen, a co-packer, where they're going to make a 55-pound, they have 55-pound blocks of butter. So we're going through this all over again. And it was so fascinating because you would have thought that you could have just taken the 10-pound batch and did the ratio calculation, and then it would work out. But it didn't. And they get their butter from California. It's like a different source. I think it's probably a higher quality butter. And it tasted totally different. Plus, we were doing it room temperature, and we had been doing it like semi cold, and so all of these things, right? And then we tried to do the sauce recipe, and again, same thing. It was like, what? This doesn't taste anything like the ones we were doing in the other kitchen. So now we have to go back and we have to tinker and we have to be a scientist. And we have to say, what, change one variable at a time, right? What was the change and why did we do that? Did we keep it on the stove too long? Do we, need to take this out sooner? Whatever. Like, we're trying to figure out, why the heck did this sauce come out so much saltier, right? And so much different than the original. So I just really want you to give yourself some grace, give yourself some patience. Know that when you scale up and when you start going into commercial ingredients and commercial production, they're also going to want to skip, or not skip, but combine as many things as we can into one. So if you have a lot of multiple steps, a lot of processes, they're always thinking how can we speed this up? And it's good on the end, but it can radically change your recipe when you start messing with the process as well. So again, I would change one thing at a time, go back and then figure out, okay, that we fixed that issue. Now we want to use this other ingredient, and we want to try to combine some of these processes. How is that going to change? And then again, change one thing at a time, and then keep going until you get it right. But I highly recommend doing as much as you can from your home kitchen, of course, to save money. But also do look for those bulk ingredients. Start using commercial size ingredients whenever possible, because that is what you're working up to. When you go into a commercial kitchen, whatever that is, co-packer, your own, you're going to want to be buying different kinds of commercial ingredients. So that's super important. So I think, yeah, that's a lot, but I've been dealing with this, and like I see it all the time and I'm still surprised. So I know how much my clients are like, they're just like, I don't get it. Why is this taking so long? Why is this so hard? Why is it not working? And it just doesn't usually ever work out right the first time or the second time. So that's what I got for you today. Does anybody have any questions? You guys are welcome to type questions in about this. Uh, Again, different products are going to have different challenges, but also be documenting your process really, really clearly in your home kitchen. Like, especially if it's a sauce, and if you have to go through process authority, that's a whole other thing. But how long do you heat this up for? To what temperature? How long does it simmer for? How long does it cool for? What's the temperature when it comes off? Like, really, really document the entire nitty-gritty process. Like, if you were going to tell me exactly step by step how to make your product, what would you tell me? Right? All right. Any questions? I don't see any coming in. I think that hopefully covered a lot, at least the basics, and helped you kind of get into the right frame of mind. Put on your lab coat. You are a scientist. You are going into your test kitchen, right? And you are figuring out how to scale it up. You're tweaking one ingredient at a time, one process at a time. You're making bigger batches. You're converting into grams. Grams are ounces, but I usually like grams because they're even more dialed in than ounces. And then when you scale up and you go big, you can always change it to pounds or ounces, but grams is going to be the most accurate. You're testing in your home kitchen first with a small batch, then you're getting as big of a batch as you can in your home kitchen, then you're taking it into the kitchen. And give yourself time to play with this. Give yourself some extra grace, some patience, and a little extra money, because it's most likely you will be throwing out or giving away those batches at the very beginning, because I know you want them to meet your high quality standards. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope this was super helpful. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, the Food Business Success YouTube channel. Like this video, leave a comment. Would love to continue the conversation. Thanks so much for the claps. Appreciate that. And be sure to go check out the private Facebook group. You can continue the conversation, ask questions over there. It's just Food Business Success. And of course, we're on social media and all the places. And there's the podcast as well. So do be sure to check out Food Business Success. I want to help you make your delicious dream a reality. All right, guys, have a fantastic day. Bye.